Good morning, doctors. My name is Dr. Cristina Barahona. I'm going to talk about microbes. Microbes are single-celled organisms. These microbes are the oldest form of life on Earth. Understanding microbes is vital to understanding the past and the future of our cells and our planet. We can find microbes everywhere, are in the air we breathe, the ground we walk, the food we eat, even inside us. Microbes are too small to be seen with the unaided eye. There are found four forms of microbes, which are bacteria, fungi, protists, and viruses. They may live as individuals or clustered together in communities. The characteristics of microbes are: some microbes need oxygen to live, but others do not, are found in plants and animals as well as in the human body. Some microbes cause disease, others are essential for a healthy life. Virus is a small infectious agent that can replicate only inside the living cells of an organism. Most viruses that have been studied have a diameter between 20 and 300 nanometers. The vast majority of viruses have RNA genomes. Bacteria have a wide range of shapes, ranging from shapers to rows and spirals. Lack a true nucleus, mitochondria, and chloroplast. There are two different types of cells wall in bacteria, called gram-positive and gram-negative.
Hi, I'm Emerald Robinson, and in this What Is video, we're going to take a look at one of nature's smallest yet most influential organisms, bacteria. Bacteria, sometimes called prokaryotes, are microscopic single-celled organisms that lack a nucleus and other membrane-bound organelles. Most bacteria have the same major parts: a protective cell wall, a cell membrane, and a strand of DNA. Many bacteria also have flagella, whip-like structures that help them move. And all bacteria reproduce by binary fission. They grow until they split into two new identical cells. Bacteria are very diverse. They have adapted to live in every type of environment on Earth, including areas of high heat, extreme cold, high acid or high salt content. They're round, rod, or spiral shaped. Some are easily wiped out by medicines, while some resist them. Of the three large groups or domains that biologists use to classify living organisms, bacteria make up two of them: Archaeobacteria and Eubacteria. Archaea, or ancient bacteria, have unique genes that enable them to get energy from unusual sources such as ammonia, methane, and hydrogen gas. Most bacteria, however, fall into the Eubacteria domain. While some bacteria can make you sick, most serve extremely important functions. For example, bacteria that live in your intestine help you digest food. Special bacteria called cyanobacteria make huge amounts of oxygen through photosynthesis for us to breathe. Humans even use bacteria for everyday purposes. Bacteria help us make foods like yogurt and cheese. And some bacteria even play a crucial role in producing medicine. If you're still not convinced that bacteria are important, consider this: 90% of the cells that make up your body are actually bacteria cells. They're an essential part of what make you, you.
For thousands of how-to and advice videos on any topic, visit monkeyc.com.
Fungi. It is similar to a plant, but it has no chlorophyll and cannot make its own food like a plant. They get their food by absorbing nutrients from their surroundings. They range from microscopic single-cell organisms such as yeast to gigantic multicellular organisms. They are also used in medicine. An example is the antibiotic penicillin. Protists are eukaryotes. They are made up of singles or multiple cells which all contain a nucleus enclosed by a membrane.
Hi, I'm Emerald Robinson, and in this What Is video, we're going to discuss a group of organisms called protists. Protists are organisms that have a nucleus and other membrane-bound organelles. Most are one-celled, and they are classified as plant, animal, or fungus-like, meaning they have things in common with these organisms, but they're not quite the same thing. This is because they're relatively simple and don't have tissues and organs. If you think this definition sounds a little confusing, that's with good reason. Biologists use the protist group as sort of a garbage can. If a form of life doesn't meet the criteria for being a plant, animal, or fungus, and it has a nucleus, it's classified as a protist. Still, there's a few characteristics that most protists share. Because protists have a defined nucleus, they belong to the domain Eukarya and are called eukaryotes. Protists were probably the first eukaryotes according to what's called endosymbiotic theory. The first protists formed when cells that did not have a nucleus engulfed smaller cells. Over many years, these smaller cells evolved into the larger cell's nucleus and other organelles. Most protists live in water or very wet environments, and most are able to move. Some swim via whip-like projections called flagella. Some glide using hair-like extensions called cilia, and some pull themselves along using pseudopods, false feet made of cytoplasm. Some protists are free-living, and some are parasites. Some make their own food, and some get nutrition by hunting food or by simply absorbing it from their environment. Protists can reproduce via sperm and egg or by binary fission, splitting into two genetically identical cells. Protists may be simple forms of life, but they're certainly one of the most diverse.
For thousands of how-to and advice videos on any topic, visit monkeysea.com.
HIV is a lentivirus that causes acute immunodeficiency syndromes. Infects viral cells in the human immune systems, such as helper T cells, macrophages, and dendritic cells. Its diameter is about 120 nanometers. Sexual intercourse is the major mode of HIV transmissions. HIV differs from many viruses in that it has very high genetic variability.
At present, treatment for HIV infection involves using a combination of drugs. One type of drug inhibits nucleic acid replication. For example, when AZT is incorporated into DNA by reverse transcriptase, no additional nucleotides can be added. A second class of drugs inhibits a protease involved in cleaving large polyproteins into functional segments. When the protease is inhibited, virus particles cannot be produced. Use of a combination of drugs directed at different targets reduces the likelihood of the development of resistance by mutation. Research is currently underway to develop new treatments for HIV. Chemicals called chemokines appear to inhibit HIV infection by binding to and blocking the CXCR4 and CCR5 co-receptors on host cells. A search is in progress to apply such chemicals in HIV treatment. Some individuals who are HIV positive but did not develop AIDS have a mutation in the CCR5 receptor that makes it defective. Research is in progress to determine whether disabling the CCR5 receptor might be effective in controlling AIDS in infected patients. An antiviral factor called CAF is found in CD8 cells. Research is in progress to determine if this substance could be used to block replication of HIV. There is currently no approved vaccine against HIV infection. One problem is that HIV surface proteins such as GP120 mutate at a high rate. Scientists may be able to construct a vaccine using an HIV with a defective form of the viral gene NEF. Viruses with the defective NEF gene seem to have reduced reproductive capability, allowing the immune system to keep the virus in check.
Tuberculosis is an infection disease that is caused by a bacterium called Mycobacterium tuberculosis. Primarily affects the lungs, but it can also affect organs in the central nervous system, lymphatic system, and circulatory system. It spreads through the air when a person with untreated pulmonary tuberculosis coughs or sneezes.
TB actually is a common problem which describes having an infection in the lungs. TB per se, if we classified it simply, is a bacteria wherein it goes to the part of the body where there is a lot of blood and a lot of oxygen. So basically, meaning TB goes to the lungs kasi there's a lot of supply of blood and oxygen at that part. Categorically, TB is an infection wherein a patient will develop chronic cough. And it can actually cause structural problems dun sa lungs. The problem with this TB, we compare to other diseases, is TB is actually very contagious, but the problem of this disease being contagious is that this disease is actually spread person to person by droplet. So, TB is actually an infection that is common among people in overcrowded areas and with prolonged contacts.
Tuberculosis, or TB disease.
TB is spread through the air from one person to another. When a person breathes in TB bacteria, it can settle in the lungs and begin to grow. It is caused by Mycobacterium tuberculosis, which usually attacks the lungs. It can also attack any part of the body, including the kidneys, spine, and brain. It can be fatal if not treated properly.
Some people have serious side effects from TB medications. Should you develop any, you must call your doctor or nurse right away.